Hey, good evening, Facebook, PTA, volunteer family. Thank you so much for coming out to another Wednesday night. And we have another special program with an amazing special guest. Her name is Jennifer Rogers, and she is a parent of at Gaither High School. And she has a child who named Daniel the ESC program at Gaither. So tonight she is going to be sharing a wealth of knowledge with all of us on the programs of ESC, 504s, IEPs, and everything in between, so we can get a real good understanding of how this year may look for many of our students with learning through special needs. So we are excited to bring this to you, and I'm going to go ahead and start us out with some announcements. I do need to get something. Sorry, I dropped it. I just want to say, great job, Lightning. We're all excited. It's nice to have a winning team here in Tampa, so yay, yay. That's it for my plug for the Lightning. Now they owe me something. So anyway, couple things here. Announcements. We're hitting on virtual meetings. The bylaw changes were done just a few weeks ago that allows all of our local PTA units to do their meetings virtually throughout the year, with only one meeting needing to be in person. So check out those. They're on the Florida PTA website, as well as we have posted them on our Hillsborough County Council PTA website. You can see the changes. There's very little changes, but there are a couple things, but it does allow you to do most of your meetings virtually, Zoom, Google, however you want to do that. And we have heard that there's been a much larger group of people coming out to these meetings as well. So we're excited to hear that it does have some positive effect, even though we do like to see everybody and greet everybody. And hopefully sooner than later, we'll be able to see each other in person at our meetings. But check those out. If you have any questions, any issues, you'd like to have a general membership meeting and get these new bylaws approved, we encourage you to do that. Give us a call if you need any questions with that. Otherwise, just download those, put your new information in, and you can go ahead and just vote on the new bylaws. So it's pretty simple. Second of all, we have back to school checklist that was posted, I believe, just recently, and hopefully Amy Marie has information on that. And that is a checklist for our PTA units to know what they need for this upcoming year, what's going on as far as PTA, some of the compliance issues that you may run into, things you just need to have to start the year off right, making sure that you've done the things with new and returning members, and everything in between when it comes to getting your PTA up and running. So there you go, your back to school checklist. So just click on that when you have an opportunity. And again, reach out to us if you have any questions or if we can help you at all. We love doing this stuff. We had a chance today to meet up with Gibsonton Elementary PTA and get them all set up on their new elections and their new bylaws. And it's one of the best parts of this position is getting a chance to meet all our amazing local units. So let us know if we can help you. Next thing off, Census. Yes, Census. I know it started off, the year started off right without all these issues, but in between the last few months, it's been kind of difficult, and I know Census has kind of fallen between the cracks. Please make sure to encourage your families in your schools to fill out the census. The census count is very important. It helps determine the members of the U.S. House and how much comes from each state, and it also allows them to know how much money is being distributed financially through federal funds. And its deadline is September 30th, so it's coming pretty quick. So please check. You see the link there. Please send it out on your local unit websites and Facebooks and Twitter and Instagrams and whatever else you use, and encourage your families to fill this out. Again, it does have a huge effect on our local and our state when it comes to funds for our state. Next off, reflections. Now, I know I saw Lisa Marie on here already saying go Bolts. I know she's a big Bolts fan, and so I'll be nice to her here and really plug her reflections. But we actually have some late breaking news on that. This year's reflections is I Matter Because, and we've been talking to you about that, but Lisa Marie is going to have a training specifically for reflections, and that is going to be on September 2nd. That'll be in place of me being here. So you will get a break from having to look at me and listen to me for one whole week. I don't want to hear too many celebrations, but I'm probably clapping inside myself as well too for that. But anyway, it'll be definitely a wonderful uh, person taking over with Lisa Marie talking about Reflections. Again, Reflections is a 50-year-old program. It's a national PTA program. It's a way for us to really reach out to a lot of kids who have so many special musical abilities, photography, writing, pictures, everything in between, drawing. And we love this program. It's exciting. It's really great to see all the submissions that are given each year. So September 2nd, please, please, please tell all of your near schools in your area about Reflections, about the training, and make sure if you can get your art teacher on there as well. And Lisa will be able to answer all the questions, tell you about how the submissions need to be made, new new guidelines, this year when it comes to COVID and how the submissions will be done. So September 6th, or 2nd, I'm sorry, and that is a Wednesday, and mark your calendars. Next off, training dates. So we got together and we had a meeting. And if you're a PTA unit, you know what that means. That means 3 hours to solve a few issues. But we did do it, and we are going to have training dates, which is our another word of saying our fall training, and that'll be September 23rd, 24th, and 26th. A little different from past years when we normally have it on one Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon. We're going to do it 3 days. So we're going to give you a chance, if you can't make it on a certain day, to catch it on one of those days, and hopefully all 3 of those days. So we'll have workshops on all 3 of those days, including a general meeting. So please mark your calendars for the 23rd, 24th, and 26th. The 23rd and 24th will be in the evening, so no need to wake up early for that one. And Saturday, we probably will do it in the morning and possibly to the early afternoon. You'll see more information on that. Save the date and make sure you're out there. Make sure you bring all your PTA. We're going to do it virtually. We want as many people on here. Understand, we love answering your questions. We love talking to you and being there for you and being a resource. But this is one really good opportunity for us to get a lot of great information out to our local units. So many of those questions hopefully will be answered that you normally have. And plus you get encouraged, supportive, and we just have a good time. So please be there 23rd, 24th, and 26th. So that is it for the announcements that I have. So again, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest speaker tonight, Jennifer Rogers. She is our ESC chair for Hillsborough County Council PTA. She is a parent of Daniel at Gaither High School. So go Gaither Cowboys. We're very proud of her. And she's going to come on and just, again, share a wealth of information and resources for a lot of our students and also our parents, and maybe some of the questions that they may have if they're entering into public school or if they're into a certain grade. And enough of me and more about her. Jennifer, how are you doing?
Hey, Frank, I'm amazing. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Very good. And, oh, by the way, I got to tell everybody, Jennifer is like she's like a famous person now. She's on the news like every other week, and it's for good things. So we appreciate she's been able to reach out with some of the local stations and talk about some of the programs that are offered. So yes, Jennifer, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. As we get started, I want to encourage everyone out there listening to ask your questions, to put them in the chat. Jennifer is here to answer those questions as best as she can, or direct you to resources or people or places that you can get those answers to. So Jennifer, let me start it out with this and we'll go from there. When we talk about ESC, when we say ESC, who should we include in that?
Well, Frank, it's a shocking number. We're talking 15% of the student population falls under that ESC umbrella. In our district alone of over 220,000 students, it's 30,000 students. So we're talking a small venue. We're talking the not Morrison, not the big hall at the Performing Arts Center, but the next to the size. 30,000 students would fill that meet under the ESC umbrella. And that includes any child from almost birth to the age of 23. Screening starts as young as the age of 2 or 3. We have placements. The youngest placement usually is at age 3 in a therapeutic pre-K program. So you have VPK programs for 4-year-olds. Depending on the child's needs, can actually start at age 3, usually bridges from Easter Seals or Early Steps program. So there's a lot of collaboration between Easter Seals, Early Steps, Child Find, Care Options to help bring those students into the system, into the district. So it could be anybody from, the common misnomer is it's those kids in that self-contained classroom. But again, it's any student with an IEP or 504, kids in IB, kids dual enrolled, from everything from IB dual enrolled to that self-contained program to specific centers like, I believe it's Lopez Educational Center. So for those students that have profound disabilities that would not be able to obtain a degree like their peers.
Okay, so if we have a parent who has a 3-year-old, you mentioned a couple of groups that start at that early age. Do they reach out to them directly, or is there a one-stop place that they start with in the county, or what?
It really varies. Hopefully it's their pediatrician. That's one of the important parts, is starting off with the pediatrician, and the pediatrician knowing these programs that are out there, getting in touch with Easter Seals or getting a referral for them. Wait, we're not seeing this baby hitting the milestones like other kids. This is something more pervasive. Let's look into something. And then they would get Early Steps, Child Find. If a parent is unsure and is not getting the right answers, simply call 211. 211 will help and should have the resources to at least connect them to the right programs that fit their needs.
Okay, and 211 is?
211 is a social service feature that is sponsored through the United Way. And if unfortunately, if you're feeling stressed out, if you need any sort of services, if you need foods, if you're homeless or you're in a domestic, potentially violent situation at home, you need help with a job, you're out of work, if you need any social service, call 211. They're there 24 hours a day.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. So let's start with district resources. I know you mentioned some groups that like Easter Seals. What are some district resources, and then are they kind of separated by levels of grade levels, or how does that work?
I'm not sure.
Well, okay. Are there Hillsborough County Public Schools, are there resources in the district that the parents can also reach out to get their questions answered? Okay.
Yeah, definitely. The first step that a parent has for a student should always be the teacher. Unfortunately, the teachers only know so much, but they're the start, and that should be the fire to ignite the research. If the teacher doesn't know, then they should go to their lead. If the lead doesn't, go all the way up to the assistant principal or the principal. And a lot of IEP training, the parents are encouraged to go directly to the principal. We're lucky in Hillsborough County that almost every school has an ESE specialist. Now that ESE specialist manages and ensures adherence to federal law, IDEA 2004 Act, for every child that has, again, an IEP, which is known as an individualized education plan, and then a 504. There are different degrees of a 504 only. So anyhow, so let me go back. So they should be able to go to a teacher. If not the teacher, there is a hierarchy. If they have questions, they can, I have to say, our Hillsborough County School District website has a robust resource guide on there. So when you go onto the Hillsborough County School District, simply up in the search, type ESE, and you'll get the ESE service and program section. And based on your area is on the left-hand, so say you're in Area 3, click on Area 3. And then on the left-hand bar, it's going to say contacts. Click on contacts. And there's a parent liaison. If you call any of those people on their list, they will be able to help the parent.
Okay, awesome. Very good. Um, how important, and I know some of these questions might be self-answered, but how important is it for our parents, especially, to get involved with other groups with kids who have special needs?
Oh, it's like the difference of being uh, abandoned on an island or in a closet at no support, not wondering if you're doing the right thing. You need that support. You need that camaraderie. You need that leverage to build that networking of, oh, Johnny's having this type of issue, and you talk to me and say, oh, well, did you know that you could do this or this? Or have you considered speaking to the teacher about this type of challenge and maybe introducing this concept? So a lot of times parents don't know. They're afraid to ask or talk about it because they feel that they're by asking admits failure, and that they're failing their child, and that they're ignorant, or that they're making a mistake, or they're being a bad parent. The only stupid question is one that's not asked. Ask any question. And it, especially in the special needs world, it is such the icebreaker. I'm having this problem. I know that on a social opportunity, when we get together, the parents, while the kids are having fun, everybody brings their pen and paper and we start crisscrossing on all of our knowledge base. So that's that's another great resource.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to take away from your time, but I know
No.
with my brother, watching him grow up and having a support system with other families, and watching these kids grow up together and having a
Mhm.
great time and being each other's pool parties. I think you mentioned it earlier before we were talking, and birthday parties, going bowling together, playing baseball up at Northside, all
Mhm.
those things, and they all did them together, and it really it was its own little group. It was its own little town. It was its own little village, I guess.
Yeah,
And
it's great. I mean, and the kids need socialization, and that's an important component on their IEP, is not only their academic growth, but their social growth and their emotional, mental well-being. And being in school, even though it may be in a self-contained classroom, there is a percentage they have to be of their school time. They have to meet what's called inclusion. They need to be socializing with peers of same, peers of different abilities. So unfortunately, oh, it's lunchtime. It can't be lunchtime. It can't be passing in the halls. It could be gym. It really shouldn't be that. But other social opportunities within the school district, many schools have a best buddy program or a friendship club. Empower your kid to go into that. Special Olympics is an amazing opportunity for our students as well. For those in high school, they could join Young Life or Capernaum. So those are available programs as well.
Okay, awesome. Now, another thing I want to kind of you to maybe take it a step further. I know with Gaither, where which is my local unit,
Mm-hmm.
we had last year. We had and I'm she's probably going to call me out if she's listening to this. Andrea Sarowitz,
Mm-hmm.
who was the orchestra teacher, and she
Mm-hmm.
had a class that included all of our special needs and our ESC students, and they just had an amazing time. Just playing music and singing and getting up and dancing and expressing themselves. What are some other programs in school or even out of school? And this would be even just at home, not so much, and because we'll get into the programs that are in the county, but what are some things that we can really do as parents to kind of get our kids to express themselves?
Right. Oh, great question. I know that my son is an alum of Walker Magnet Middle School, go Walker Wolves. And under the steership of Miss Rubin, our fine arts teacher there, and Mallory Kalaki, the ESC specialist, and the rest of her team, shout out to Mr. J, Miss Cochran, everybody there. They had some wonderful integrative opportunities. They did several plays. In fact, one of their plays was picked and they performed at the ESC Awards 2 years ago down at the Pepin Center. So that was a great opportunity. Community-wise, there's Best Buddies program that is available. It's held at Greco Middle School. It's the only location at this time. There, again, is Capernaum. There's Gigi's Playhouse, there's We Rock the Spectrum, there's the Autism Awareness Thrift Store on Hillsborough and Havana. They have some growing groups there as well. I know Idlewild Baptist Church has this very strong special needs ministry. Bay Hope Church has a strong ministry. And there's some really amazing programs that I can't recall, but in the Brandon Riverview area, I've heard some really amazing programs out there. Again, that's where the parent networking comes in. That's where those, and many of those are nonprofit agencies. By them registering with the United Way, if you call 211, they'll have that information available. And again, through that IEP, I know for Daniel at Gaither, they had integrated music with Mr. Hegland's group as well. And they have the Friendship Club. If there's a program that your child is interested in, so for example, my son has an affinity towards wanting to babysit, and so daycare. Gaither has the Little Wranglers program. So we're working together and actually planning on his transitioning to integrate him as a couple of those programs. But if your child loves soccer or any sort of sport, feel empowered to approach that coach or something and say, hey, Susie here really loves softball. Is there any way we can integrate her into the team? I mean, look at Sam Piazzo and all that he's done. But what's the worst that can happen? That you hear no.
Right.
And when you hear no, say, well, why not? Don't accept no. Well, we've never done it before. Well, great. Let's be a trailblazer. Let's make it happen.
Absolutely. That's something I think we all need to hear for everything, especially this, is don't ever, the old words of we've never done this before like this, or it's never worked like that before, needs to stop, and we need to continue. And that's good words. That's good wisdom for everybody, but definitely with our kids. What are some other, I know we talked about some of the programs in the county, and I know I've gotten to see some of them, the plays and the musicals that they've done. And obviously my brother playing baseball, got to see all those. How about at home? What are some ways that we can really kind of get our kids to interact and learn social skills? And because some kids, like my brother, is kind of like me. He'll never shut up. And I know he got that from me, but I know some kids maybe, they're a little more on the quiet side. So as parents, what are some ways that maybe we can do that then when they get into school, that they, I guess, adjust a little bit easier?
The big challenge, well, if we're talking ESC general, again, you have a mixture of your atypical, your standard students that they don't have those socialization issues. They belong to Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or any of those extracurricular activities. For those focusing on the subset of those with prolific disabilities that are on the autism spectrum, that are regarded as intellectually disabled or intellectually delayed, or have some physical impairment that they're in a wheelchair or something, that also impairs. And unfortunately, a lot of those are what we call comorbidities. They're 2 for 1. So you just may not have one, you may have multiple of those. It's hard work on the parents, and it takes years. Again, Daniel is now in high school. For those parents in elementary school, patience. If you saw my son from elementary school, he was an eloper. He was destructo boy. He had breakdowns. There was no way in elementary school that he would play. And if he did go and we played, and I would push and try to coordinate with any type of child, he parallel played. He didn't have those social skills. So he might be in a room full of kids and they're all playing a board game over here, but he's over there playing Legos by himself. In his mind, he thinks he's interacting, but that's parallel. For that type of situation, I had to pursue private therapeutic assistance. I got a referral from his pediatrician, and we went, and he now receives speech therapy. Now you may be asking, well, speech therapy, he can talk fine. Speech therapy focuses on so many more of the components, like pragmatic speech. Yes, he knows how to speak, but does he know how to hold a conversation? Does he know how to answer things properly? Does he know how to go beyond a 1 or 2 word reply? Also social cues, learning how to socially interact. So part of one of his speech sessions is a social group with he and other teens facing similar challenges in his same age group. Again, finding these places, and they've grown. They weren't around when we were around. the We Rock the Spectrum, the Buddy. Oh, another one that is great, that is nationally known, is Nathaniel's Hope, which is actually based out of Orlando, and they had a Buddy Break. And what Buddy Break is, so Google Nathaniel's Hope or Buddy Break. And for example, here in the Tampa Bay area, I could almost schedule, and it's respite, really. These are us parents, especially the young ones, you need respite. You need this break because you're more than just a parent. You're an advocate. You're a fighter. You're a tiger mom. But Buddy Break is great. It's hosted throughout the county. Different churches mainly have it, where they allow you register, you drop your child off for anywhere from 1 to 3 hours, depending on what they're set up. And that's a social opportunity, and they have one-on-one volunteers. As the children grow up, again, the onus falls on the parent, unfortunately, that so for myself, what most typical parents went through as a kid, I'm organizing play groups with these teens. So we can get together in COVID-friendly situations where they can get to hang out as much as possible. Luckily for them, thankfully, they have Zoom or they have texting, or other adaptive resources so they can see each other virtually. But when they're in person is really critical. And unfortunately, most kids have not been able to do that because of COVID. So when school starts, there's going to be a significant amount of regression in these children and their social behaviors.
Well, you kind of let's get into the weeds a little bit, because you kind of segued to an area I think we probably do need to hit. What are some ways that you would recommend getting our kids ready for e-learning when it comes to our ESE and our 504? Because obviously not that teacher, that face-to-face with the teachers is so important for our special needs students. And for those who have chosen e-learning, it's going to be a dramatic change. Aside from the fact that it is going to be different, what are some ways that we as parents can kind of not so much condition, but just get our kids ready for that?
Yeah. First off, I really don't know what the e-learning situation is going to be like compared to last year, to the end of 2020. The resources have changed. The teachers were struggling and juggling, and it, especially in the self-contained environment that I represent or I'm familiar with, it was severely lacking. I mean, I know those teachers were doing their best, but the kids, they're not made to sit nonstop from 8:30 to 3:15 like they were. Parents, make breaks, know that class schedule, be involved, make your kids get up and go for a walk or do some sort of exercise. For those, go back to some rewards program. Okay, Johnny, you sat through for that class and you didn't have any outbursts, there you get your reward. You get so many stickers, and then you get, okay, extra time here, or a treat, or something special. And ultimately, our kids are differently abled, but they're not stupid. Ask them what they want, depending on their abilities and their age. Ask them what they're expecting e-learning is, and listen to what they're saying and be like, yeah, you might be right. I have no idea. I've never been through this before. But also sit there. Now, don't be a school marm and be, if they can have that independence, leave the room, let them have the time. But I also like to stop and, hey, how you doing? Make goofy faces, and the kids in the class liked it. They're like, oh, there's Mrs. Rogers again. She's the crazy one, whatever. So, but also as a parent, I would say, oh, there's Michaela, or oh, there's this one, or oh, there's that one. How you doing, guys? And those kids, by me just recognizing them, affirmed their existence, and they felt acknowledged and wanted and known. So definitely just have a big conversation with them and say, kid, it's going to be for this week or maybe for this semester. Let's just give it a try. There's no mistakes because there's no threshold at this time.
Right. Now, things being a little different again, if we do it e-learning and virtual, are there ways parents can assist the teachers at all while they're teaching through the computer?
Oh, yeah. at least in Daniel's class, it's not just a teacher, there's a para or more than one, and a paraprofessional. So again, with the independent education plan, the IEP, in that setting, those kids need not only accommodation, meaning more time or a manipulative, but they need services, which could be your speech or OT, and that include and modifications. And all three of those can lead up to, well, can one teacher adequately have that? No, we need an aide, we need a helper. So those are our paraprofessionals. And those again are our unsung heroes in any school are the paraprofessionals. The dedication that they have for this is amazing. But yeah, so getting back to it, what would the paraprofessional do in the classroom setting? That's where the parent comes in, needing help with cutting, items, printing things up, because that's the biggest thing is the teachers are going to be sending the students normally do not have a textbook. They're usually given handouts because the teachers build the curriculum to meet the needs of the student. So there's a lot of printing. Okay, Johnny, what's the instructions? Oh, you need to cut this out and glue it. And how much help do you need? Now, the parent doesn't need to cut it for them, but maybe to supervise them or guide them with the manipulatives depending on the needs. Or, okay, for those with ADHD, your time is, all right, Frank, you have 15 minutes to get these 3 sentences written up. And then checking at 12 minutes, how you doing, Frank? Okay, where's those? And it's called cueing. What's the physical, the verbal cueing to help that student be successful? So the parents really should, at this point, have been in contact with their IEP team saying, how is my IEP or how is Johnny's IEP being revised to meet e-learning or virtual school? And that has to be in place before day one.
Excellent. Now, I'm not sure how to word this question, but I know it's parents when they're starting out in school, or when their children are starting out in school. We'd all like to go back to school at some point, give up this real world stuff.
I went to Catholic school. No.
So when their kids are starting out in school and they get the call from the principal, the AP, or the teacher saying, we'd like to talk to you about having your child in a program, whether it's speech, because we got that call when our son was in kindergarten, and I'll be totally honest with you, we were thrown back. We're like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? And we took it as a, almost like, what's wrong with our kid type thing. And so what I say that because I want you to answer this, but I don't want parents to react the way I did.
Yeah, no, and what you're saying is absolutely, believe me, I saw Maniscalco, I saw Lutz Elementary, and it was, oh, give me a drink. I can't take it anymore. I'd be like, I have to avoid it, but I didn't. It's a natural reaction when you see that or you hear that, hey, Mr. Smith, we see Johnny here and we have some concerns for him and he's acting out in class and blah, blah, blah. And your kids act differently in school than they do with us at home. Unfortunately, the majority is acting out at school and behaving fine at home. It's very, there's the two settings. Oh, Johnny, but we're talking about when he's in school. First off, it's not a reflection on you as the parent. It is not a reflection on you of your parenting skills, nor is it a reflection of what have you done. I made my kid a mess up, or I've contributed to this, or I'm whatever. It's not you. It's about Johnny. And in hindsight, what I've learned is, wow, they're paying attention to Johnny. They're actually seeing now what I've been struggling with for years or however long, or yeah, maybe you're right. Oh, I thought that was just normal. I went through that too. Well, duh, you had dyslexia. Your kid has dyslexia or other specific learning disability or ADHD. We know that those are neurological abnormalities that are inherited. So first off, parent, if you get the call from the school saying, hi, this is the teacher and we have these concerns about Johnny, please don't get defensive. Be grateful. Those teachers are looking and they're seeing something on Johnny that is not quite on par with their peers, and they know that with just a little bit of help or a lot of help in our case, they're going to get Johnny back on track to be as close to their peers. That is the goal of school on ESE, is to utilize whatever resource is within reason available to help Johnny reach to where their peers are. Is it possible for 100%? No, but it's better if this is your typical and here's your ESE. Do you want your ESE all the way at the bottom failing, or do you want them closer to Johnny? That's the question.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, and I know when we took an honest look at it, we realized there were certain letters that he wasn't saying properly, but being parents, we didn't want to acknowledge that, or it just never occurred to us. And so I appreciate you saying that. Hey, understand that they are taking a closer look at your child, and it's because they care. April
Now,
Cobb.
I will say, I was going to say, now that is the epitome of the situation. The unfortunate is that's the 30%. The 70% are, hi, I'm the parent. There's something wrong with Johnny. I need your help. There's something wrong with Johnny. There's something wrong. No, there's not. There's not. Really? Okay. So at that point, you, the parent, are empowered. If you think so, get a referral from the physician, the pediatrician. They can have an evaluation for occupational, which addresses handwriting, fine motor skills, gross motor skills. Anything from the waist up is occupational. You can get a referral for a speech therapist. Speech therapy not only discusses talking, but they can help with auditory processing. They can help with reading if you're dyslexic. If you have dysgraphia, dyscalculia, apraxia, any of those components, you can get a private evaluation, and it's going to be covered through your insurance, including CMS, Medicaid. And you can take those evaluations to the school and say, here, you say there's nothing wrong with Johnny, but I've had a private evaluation. Now can we sit down and talk? At that point, the school has to talk.
Right. So we have one of our teachers from Jennings, April Cobb, asks, what should parents do when they have been calling their child's school for over 3 weeks as it relates to their IEP? Uh-oh, you're wringing your hands.
Where's my mustache? First off, don't ever call. You need to email. And if you know your case manager, first off, whoever the case manager is, the teacher, they have to respond. Usually it's within 48 hours. Unfortunately, there is no official word on how soon a teacher needs to reply to this, but 3 weeks, come on, that's a little. If that ESC specialist doesn't, then you need to copy the principal. Don't go with the AP, the principal. If again, you still don't hear anything, you go to the Hillsborough County School District website, ESE, scroll to it, you find your area, you go to that contacts and you start calling those. You call your ESE superintendent, or not call them, but you can email them. Don't be afraid to go out of the hierarchy. That's your child. And if it takes 3 weeks to get that email for them to acknowledge, unfortunately, it's going to take you 4 to 8 weeks before you can have that IEP meeting set up, because depending on how many people you're going to have at the table. But email. And if you don't hear within 48 hours, then you say hi, second time. Third time goes to the principal. After that, go to the area contacts.
Okay, in the new world, for me, kids transferring to HVS. Okay. So, and no.
I will say, well, again, if your child is on Common Core, is on a regular curriculum, HVS is good. I have been advised if your child is on access points, HVS is not a viable option. I will leave it at that.
Just leave it right there, huh?
Well, no, I've been told that virtual school, either Florida virtual or Hillsborough County virtual, are not viable options for children on access point, as they do not have a curriculum in place to support access point students.
Okay. All right. And like you said, you're going to leave it there. So, well, is there anything else that we did not cover that you feel is important for our parents to know? I'm sure you have another hour to do this, but
I mean, there's so many great options out there. Really, parents, if you hear the phrase "trust me" or "give it time," that's a big warning sign. No, do not. That we have lost so many years over just give it time. It'll happen. It'll happen. Trust your gut. You're the parent. You know your student. How I've gotten here is through grit and grim. When he was younger, I was investing over 20 hours a week of self-study, finding resources, calling people, asking for help. I mean, anybody would be like, oh, hey, you're the car wash guy. Hey, do you happen to know anybody that knows this? I mean, I was that desperate for it. But I honestly only keep Facebook and social media now because of the resources. There's the great FND PSN group that's actually over in Dunedin. They're a free resource. I share a lot of their links on our Hillsborough County Facebook group. They have a lot of information. They have a lot of resources. They're another great, what I'll call clearinghouse besides 211, especially for special needs in school. FND PSN is a great resource. You can find them on Facebook. And they have one, they're all throughout the state. It's the Florida Network of Disabilities. It's a part of the Florida DOE. And they have groups, they have a FND Youth that helps, they have youth advocates that focus trying to help differently abled youth. There's one down in South Florida that is exclusively, it's the Miami Broward area, and it's exclusively in Spanish. So for any of our Spanish speakers, that's a great resource. There's also Fiddlers, the Florida Resources of Learning Services, is another great resource. That link is on the school district website. And for those with the Center for Autism and Related Disabilities, it is not just for autism. Don't let them sway you that it's just for autism. But Card FL, which is located over at USF, also has a great resource. If you have insurance of any sort, reach out to your insurance company, and they oftentimes have specialists that can help guide you as well beyond the school area, or getting you in touch with specialty services.
Wow. When I said a wealth of information, I was definitely understating that. You are amazing. And we're so thankful. I know what you said a few minutes ago about scratching and kicking and doing whatever you can to get the information. I know we probably have a lot of parents in that same predicament, that same situation as well. So hearing you say that, and then where you are now with all this information, parents, don't give up. Just don't, be encouraged. Reach out. And as I say that, my segue here is Jennifer Rogers is our ESC chair for Hillsborough County Council. As you see, yeah, I know, and she will dance for you if you ask her.
No.
As you see her her email scrolling across, please reach out if you have questions. We'll be more than happy to extend them out to her. If you have anything that you'd like to share, our Hillsborough County Council PTA page is always there. And most of the resources and information that you see on this subject, it comes directly from Jennifer Rogers. So a lot of great stuff. And so we have her to thank for that. And we continue to be appreciative of what she's doing, because we as PTA advocates, we are, I think the saying is all children are our children. And we need to make sure, regardless of how many or how few or how much kids, we need to be advocating for all of them and reaching them where they are. And you're doing an amazing job with reaching some pretty special kids. And I say that because, again, being an older brother of a brother who had Downs, I didn't get to grow up with him. I was a little bit older than him, but watching him interact with all his friends and everything was exciting, and I enjoyed it. And I have a special place.
Any of these special opportunities, especially Special Olympics, even if you're, hopefully this year we'll be able to resume, and we have the Gaither Stampede that starts off in February, and the window for Special Olympics in Hillsborough County is from mid-February to Memorial Day, if we're lucky. I know we have the Gaither Stampede, which hosts all the Hillsborough County public schools. It's an amazing kickoff. Shout out to Linda Taylor and Sharon Monahan, all of them at Gaither that put this together, and Paige. It's remarkable. Then they have the local districts, which is usually at one of the high schools. And
I think they're doing a Jesuit now.
They did it at they change every year. So normally when we had it it was at Berkeley Prep over in Town and Country. Amazing facility, amazing program. Then they did have it at Jesuit, and that was for the whole county. So it goes from your areas to they grow out. And then they finish it off at Disney's Worldwide of Sports. And for me, going the past few years, it's amazing to see the same athletes come back. And at this point, those athletes are just athletes. They're not there because they're all on the same level playing field. Their disabilities are put away for the day. They get to be children or teens or young adults. And Special Olympics is not, there is no age limit. It's from birth until 99. But the other amazing part that people don't know for Special Olympics student is for many of our disabled or differently abled kids, they don't get an opportunity to go to doctors. Many of them are on Medicaid, and there's not that many resources, or it's very difficult to get them traveling from place to place. So at Special Olympics, they get the opportunity to be examined by an eye doctor, they get an eye exam, an ear exam, orthopedic, chiropractor, dietitian, and a dentist. And once they get those evaluations or, just overviews, they're not fully treated, but they get referrals for support and services elsewhere. So they get a little piece of paper, and then if they need to get to that doctor, that gets them past go a lot quicker. So
did not know that at all. Absolutely did not. And going back, I remember when it was at USF. So
yeah.
Those are the days.
It's great. But parents, don't be afraid to say no. Remember, all the kids have struggles. It's just our kids seem to be a little bit more at the surface than others. Be involved and just have as much fun as possible. And if you have any questions, I'm here. If I can't answer your question, I know I can definitely connect you to the right resources within the district.
Awesome. Amen to that. All of that. So, all righty. We definitely covered the whole hour. I wasn't sure if we were going to go 20 minutes or 50 minutes. But
I know, we have nothing to talk about.
This is awesome, awesome stuff. And
Amy
I know there's
Marie's
a lot of
gonna be
parents
jealous.
out there that this is a great amount of resources and information for them. And even if they know most of the stuff, it's the fact that just being encouraged and just being empowered, and understanding that, hey, we're all going through pretty much the same struggles, and just being there for your kids is the main thing. So thank you so very much again. For those of you who have any questions, you see Jen Rogers' email. She is a Gaither parent. We were Walker parents together, although we didn't. I'm a little bit older than her. So, and my kid
I'm a Gaither Cal girl too, so don't worry.
So, but she is all over the county, and we are so thankful for all of everyone out there listening. Again, reach out if you have any questions. And thank you for allowing us into your home, as you always do each week, PTA families and friends. We hope every week we bring a little bit of fun, a little bit of laughter, and a lot of information and knowledge that we can share to you and just impact you in a little bit. I know we do different things every week, but we really want to make sure our entire county is being affected by the guests that we bring on. And Jen is definitely an amazing person, and we're so happy to have her. So with that, I will say thank you so much. Have a great evening. Remember, Reflections is on September 2nd. Next week, I forgot to do this. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe she didn't call me. Next week, we have membership drive. Yes, I cannot believe Regina did not yell at me yet. So next week, Regina, who is our membership chair, will be on here talking about how to drive your membership with your local PTA. So everyone better be on here, because everyone's calling me, how do we get our membership going? So you're going to have the expert, our chair, with Regina, and she'll be on there. We'll have a great time. She's going to do a video, we hope, that'll kind of encourage you guys to come on. And again, reach out to Jen if you have any questions. And with that, have a wonderful evening. We'll talk to you again next week.